right, well, it's that time of the night that we get to learn some proper English pronunciations. And so let me bring Willice The Word Master joining us live from Kisumu County. Willice, it's great to see you this evening. I've been learning a bit of German, and I have to say that it's a very interesting language, albeit very hard.
Yes, I had a bit of it, Betty, but I don't have any knowledge of, German.
Yeah.
But there is something that you must have realized today. Your guest said brochure, and that is the way to pronounce that word. We have alternative pronunciations. You say brochure or brochure. Sha or sure are acceptable. So she deserves a pat on the back. But that was a wonderful discussion there.
Thank you so much, Willice. Many Kenyans say brochure, so it's good that you mentioned that is brochure.
Yeah, brochure, but it's brochure or brochure.
Or brochure.
Alternative pronunciation.
I like the brochure a bit more,
yeah,
Willice.
Brochure,
yeah.
Brochure or brochure. Both are acceptable, Betty.
Acceptable. And Willice, you keep using this word knowledge, and not knowledge, as many of us commonly mispronounce. Is that correct, Willice?
Betty, you say knowledge,
knowledge,
acknowledge. You don't say knowledge. Knowledge, no. Knowledge and acknowledge. That is why I always insist on understanding or studying the English phonology. There are those approximations which are acceptable, but getting it right, Betty, in terms of the sound system or the speech sounds in English language, very important or important.
Important, Willice. All right, Willice.
Yes,
we're already getting into the lesson, but, first of all, let's take a look at word on the street. This week we gave Kenyans quite a tough word. I'm not even sure about the pronunciation, so I'm not going to try. But let's hear what they had to say on this one. Cosix. 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 Cosix.
Cosix. Cosix.
Cosix. Cosix.
Cosix. Cosix.
Cosix. Cosix.
Cocoix. Cocoix.
Coix. Coix.
Coxi. Coxi.
Coxi. Coxi. Oh, Willice, I know you said, we're supposed to be laughing, but wow, those pronunciations were a bit funny, Willice.
Well, just for learning, not laughing at somebody, but laughing to, make the learning, attractive in a way. But we should not laugh at somebody because you never know. You may laugh at somebody feeling that the person has pronounced a word wrongly, only to discover that the way you know it could even be worse.
Like, Willice, seriously, I don't know even how to pronounce that word,
Betty,
Willice.
It happens, Betty, and as I always say, nobody in this world, not even Willice, or the Britons for that matter, can be perfect because English is very wide in its vocabulary. But Betty, this word, tricky as it is, we say coccyx. Coccyx. That is for the tailbone. You say coccyx. So the first C, that is, you see we have that double C. The first C is k. Then the second C takes the sound s. So coccyx. Coccyx. Very tricky, Betty.
Coccyx.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Coccyx.
Okay.
You've got it right, Betty.
Okay, Willice, thank you for that. Willice, those words that have Y and X, and they're so confusing. It's just like xylophone, xenophobia or xenophobia. Those Z, X, words, you just see them, you get a bit tired, because they're so difficult to pronounce.
Yeah, sometimes it's because of that problem of not, laying enough emphasis on pronunciation or phonology for that matter. Betty, we are taught grammar, we are taught vocabulary, that is in terms of the choice of words, the appropriate words in different contexts. But you see, that one we learn them very well. But this
Yeah.
is not to say that it is only our education system which is not doing that. Most education systems only concentrate on vocabulary and grammar. When it comes now to pronunciation, I would tell you for free, Betty, most of our mistakes are not our liking. It's because conjecture is there with us, and we were never told that this is the right way to say this word. You remember when we started with the word pronunciation? Some people thought like maybe that is something that is in the mind of Willice. But later when people checked, they realized we don't have pronunciation the way we commonly say it locally. Because all along we thought it was pronunciation because of the verb pronounce.
Yes. Willice, and I remember very well the first time we spoke and you really corrected me on that one. You know, I said, you know, what is the pronunciation? But you later told me it's pronunciation. Okay, Willice.
But these mistakes are not with us because we know that we are making mistakes. We listen to such kind of mispronunciations, you know, very regularly, and that is locally and even beyond. So that is why I tell people, please, before you laugh at another person, before you think that you are right, always bear in mind that nobody can be totally perfect. Whoever we are human beings.
Okay, Willice. Hey, what a serious punch to the lesson tonight. All right, let's continue with the words, the list that I have. So the next one is prioritize, which is which between the two? Or if maybe it's not part of the list there.
But you say priority. Then you say prioritize.
Okay.
Prioritize, not prioritize, which is common. You say prioritize.
Prioritize. And you say prior?
That is it.
Okay.
Prior, not prior, and not prio.
Okay.
You say prior, then priority,
And then
prioritize. When you hear those changes in terms of what we call now the grammatical function of words, that is what we call now inflection, Betty.
Okay.
So prior to something, but prioritize and priority, these ones are now different words with different meanings in terms of either the root or the stem. But we can leave that.
Okay, got it, Willice. Moving on to another word, and I'll veer off my list just for this word. Somebody here is asking about somebody who writes a column. Columnist, how is that pronounced, Willice? I'm seeing this one on my Twitter handle here.
My man down here has just shown me also the same word, and I think it's somebody, Jonathan Okwemba.
Yeah.
You say columnist.
Okay.
Columnist. We have column
Columnist.
where N is silent, but don't say columnist. You say columnist. Now you say nist, but column is column.
Okay. All right, Willice, got it. Moving
I
on
think Okwemba also asked about conundrum and prior.
Conundrum. So we say conundrum,
Yes.
not conundrum. All right.
Conundrum, you know, Betty, sometimes there are certain pronunciations which may sound unique or, you know, normal to certain ears. But what really happens is being accurate is more important than struggling to sound unique. Because the moment you are accurate, the moment you get the sounds right, you stand more chances of communicating clearly and effectively.
All right, Willice. Very important to know that.
Yes.
Let's move on to our next word, Willice. And I'll spell this one out. R-E-C-E-D-E.
Oh, recede. You say to recede.
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 Okay. Recede.
Yeah.
Got it. Moving on to this
other
other
word. Recession. Recession. Recede.
Okay. Got it. Moving on to this other word.
Yes.
S-A-N-C-T-U-A-R-Y. How do we say that one, Willice?
Sanctuary.
Okay.
Sanctuary. You say sanctuary. Sanctuary. Yes.
All right.
Yes, sanctuary. Just like juncture or junction. So that C takes the sound K as you pronounce sanctuary.
Okay, got it. Moving on to the next word, Willice. And this one is, we know it as certificate. Is there another pronunciation for this word apart from that?
What we should avoid is Kate. what I normally talk about. You told me it's many people's, many people sometimes pronounce certain words with what you call a swag, or what is called a swag, on the
Swag.
streets. But we say certificate, certificate. So you don't say Kate.
Oh.
Certificate, no. Certificate, a certificate.
Certificate. Okay, got it, Willis. Is that correct?
Yes. So what we should avoid is Kate.
Kate.
Yeah.
All right, Willis.
Sir, then T has a stress. Certificate. Certificate.
All right. Willis, let's move on to this other word. Do we say presumptive, presumptive? How do we say that one, Willis?
The way you said it the first time. That is presumptive. Like you talk of the heir presumptive.
All right.
Not hair presumptive, presumptive. Don't use the sounds. You say presumptive.
Presumptive. Yes. All right, Willis. Let's now move on to our feedback question. And it's this time is from Dr. Mabanga from Kampala, Uganda. Thank you for watching Friday Briefing. So defraud, we hear a lot of defrauds. Which is which, Willis?
Yes, Betty, I can see the questions or the feedback questions like they are coming in. But Betty, for Dr. Mabanga and our dear viewers, that A and U in that word takes this long vowel sound O. It's called a digraph, a combination of two letters representing one sound. So you say defraud, to defraud, not defraud, defraud.
Defraud.
Yes, so don't say defraud. And we also say fraud, not fraud. Fraud, not fraud. So we can move on now to Ruth Auma of Moi University, Eldoret. Ruth, you say intrigue, intrigue, and coffee, coffee, not coffee. Coffee is more of American pronunciation, but just say coffee. And you also say lingerie or lingerie, not lingerie. Lingerie, not lingerie.
Not lingerie, Willis?
You don't say lingerie, Betty. I know the word is going to be a surprise to you. The word must be a surprise to you. It's lingerie or lingerie. Don't say lingerie. Many people talk of that. Do you remember dengue fever?
I do, Willis, but wait a minute. What about lingerie? Isn't that the correct pronunciation, no?
No.
Okay.
Lingerie. Lingerie. And you can also say lingerie. When you say lingerie, that is now again the American pronunciation. Betty, when we talk about standard pronunciations, or we talk about RP and its approximations, certain regional pronunciations are not regarded to be, the right way to pronounce certain words. But we have situations or circumstances in which certain alternatives are acceptable. Okay. You get what I'm talking about, Betty?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So you must understand that sometimes it can be very wonderful, just like I talked of, what we call exciting accent. Like when you talk like the West Africans, it sounds great, but when you follow the pronunciation, it may not be very good. We talk of good pronunciations that are easily understood internationally in serious communication, Betty.
All right, Willis. Any more words?
When we go to Mahat Mahmood, I think this one is from Northeastern, you say children and change. Okay. Francis Lupao, tsetse fly. Tsetse fly and elephantiasis.
Wait, Willis.
Elephantiasis and tsetse fly. Yes, Betty.
Tsetse fly. Is that?
Tsetse. You say tsetse fly. Tsetse fly. You get that?
No. Tsetse
commonly,
fly.
We are used to tsetse fly.
Yeah.
Tsetse fly.
Yeah, tsetse fly.
But you say tsetse fly. Tsetse fly.
Wow.
Able to try it again, Betty?
Tsetse fly. Everybody in the studio is laughing at me.
Tsetse fly.
Tsetse
I know.
Testy.
Don't worry, Betty, when you find yourself unable to pronounce a word, which is, especially when the pronunciation is new to you,
Yeah.
you take time and do some, bit of drills. It's
Yeah.
normal. That is how we learn. You just learn to get it right. Don't assume that you know.
Yeah.
You learn, including Willis. You have to. Certain words, like the words which have the sound sh, sometimes is a problem, like when you come to my backyard.
Okay,
but
yeah.
I had to do some drills for me to master all the sounds in English language.
Right.
Anyway, Betty, we have Esther and Stephen Ogamba. It's a matter of names now, Betty. You say Michelle, not Michele, and not Michelle, and not Michele. Michelle, like Michelle Obama. You also say Jason, not Jason. Jason. And
Jason.
Jefferson, that is Jefferson.
Yeah.
So Michelle, Jason, and Jefferson, that is for Esther and Stephen Ogamba. And
So
they
you
love
say
the program so
Stephen,
much.
not
Thank you so
Stephen?
much on behalf of Betty. You say Stephen, not Stephen.
Okay.
Stephen.
Okay.
You can say Stephen or Stephen, but Stephen, the P and H in most cases, functions as a digraph. But in that name, you use the sound V.
Okay.
But
All right.
F is also acceptable, but rarely used, Betty.
Okay.
Then Kantai Sayei, you can say D, devolution or devolution.
Okay.
D or de.
D or
Devolution or devolution. Job Wakili, yes. Job Wakili and Christine Gaki, you say affidavit. Affidavit. Then this one I know will be of interest to Betty. Betty, they were also asking how you can pronounce the first name of the U.S. president. You say Donald. Donald. That is in British pronunciation. The American way, they begin with a sounding da. Donald. Donald. So you can say Donald or Donald. What we should avoid is Donald. Donald is what we see. That part A-L-D takes the sounding old, just like in bold, B-A-L-D, and scold, S-C-A-L-D. That is clear. So Ahmed Guhad of Garissa, you say alibi. Alibi.
Alibi.
Lydia Mora, you say, yes, you say alibi, not alibi.
All right.
Then
what about
Lydia
alibi?
Mora, you say Christian. Alibi is acceptable, but you say alibi. Alibi.
Okay, alibi.
So alibi is acceptable, Betty,
Okay.
but alibi is the accurate pronunciation of that word. What we should avoid, it's not having what we call phonetic spelling. It is not pronounced in terms of the arrangement of the letters or the sequence of the letters.
Okay.
So B-I is taking the sounding by.
Okay.
Alibi.
Alibi.
Patricia and Jerry, schedule.
Schedule.
Schedule of classes. But remember, in American English, you say schedule.
All right.
Schedule.
All right.
RP or the British English, schedule. Amos Maingi, conference. Conference. Then finally, Moha Funky, you say new or new. That is G-N-U. New or new, the animal. Then you say colloquial. Colloquial. And then I think he asked a question in relation to what we have already talked about. Colloquial, no. Colloquial. Quial. Colloquial. Yes.
Colloquial.
Then brochure or brochure, we had talked about.
Yeah.
Betty, our
Willis.
surprise one for tonight.
I'm surprised already, Willis. I am very surprised by some of this pronunciation.
Let English be English. So
let English
Betty
be English.
and our dear viewers, let English be English and Kiswahili be Kiswahili. Every language is important.
Oh, important.
Betty.
Okay, Willis.
Yes, every language, because we use them in communicating. Now, we have overzealous, but in most cases, you'll hear of overzealous. Overzealous.
Yeah.
So we have zeal,
Zeal.
but we talk of zealot and zealous. Then we say overzealous, not overzealous.
Wow,
So
that's a surprise.
let's avoid overzealous we say overzealous. Overzealous.
Zealous.
Then finally, confusing words.
Uh-huh.
F-L-A-W, you say floor. The long vowel sound O, floor, floor.
Floor.
Just like sakafu. So F-L-A-W is pronounced the same way as F-L-O-O-R. That is sakafu.
Yeah.
Flaw of defect or fault, you say flaw.
Flaw.
Just like flaw of sakafu. Then the word below, you say flow, flow. A slight glide, or what we call the slight vowel glide, O, O. Flow, to flow. So Betty, that is how good it is, or beautiful it is when you know the sound system of a language. For instance,
Willice.
English. Any other question, Betty, from your end?
So I'll have to take you right back to where we started, because that word on the street, it was so complex, I've even forgotten how to pronounce it. So it was coccyx?
Yeah, you say coccyx.
Oh,
coccyx.
Okay, I'm a
Very
good student.
tricky. Coccyx.
Okay. Coccyx.
You don't say coccyx, don't say coccyx, coccyx, and all that. You avoid all those pronunciations or mispronunciations. You just say coccyx. So Betty,
Coccyx.
that is English.
One last question, very, very fast, Willice. Last week, you told us about that we don't say television. We say what?
Betty, when you look at the spelling of television, what you see is tele. Just like what you see in the animal is elephant. What you see, your eyes will see E-L-E. So you say ele.
Elephant.
When it's Eli, then you see tele. Tele, but you say telly when you're pronouncing the word. That's why you see sometimes the informal form of that word, people say the telly, the telly. So television, not television.
All right.
Television.
Television.
Television. So learning never ends, Betty.
No, it
sometimes
does
there are
not.
certain words learning never ends.
Yes.
But the best thing to do, be a good student. Take it easy. Just learn step by step.
Step by step. Okay, Willice.
That is how things work.
That's true. Willice, the words
they
you
can
use
reach
to
me,
explain...
by the way, on Twitter.
Yes. At Willice Ochieng 1 is the Twitter handle.
At Willice Ochieng 1.
All right, Willice. Thank you so much. Willice, tonight's lesson was something else. And television, it is an elephant. Elephant and not elephant. What we see is not what we pronounce. It's elephant and not elephant. Okay, Willice, thank you so much for the lesson tonight. Remember, you can catch him, as he mentioned, on his Twitter handle. At Willice Ochieng 1 is where you can catch him online. All right, or you can just wait until Friday, where you have Friday briefing. All right, Willice, thank you so much for joining us from Kisumu County. So that has been Mind Your Language, always right here on Friday briefing, where we learn that we say television and not television. All right, so Moses Wahisi is coming up shortly with the day sports.